110 Ocean Drive. Yeah, we on the cool. Got my guy to the left of me, Grant, on the sideboard. Alex, my engineer. Myself, Tave. I'm in the fucking building. Well, let's talk about it. Hey, man, we're excited about this week's games. You know, last week, I think we did really bad. Last week as far as our picks.
Had better weeks.
Yes, definitely, man. But this week, you know, we're excited about it. We're definitely excited about it because I think with this Ohio State bet, we're just going to get straight into it.
Yep.
11 o'clock game. That's what we have. We have the Ohio State-Maryland game.
Yeah, and Maryland's going to be, of course, without Kasim Hill, our starting quarterback, went down with the torn ACL again.
Oh, my gosh. Isn't it crazy?
It's been tough for him, yeah. His backup, Tyrell Pigram, looks a little limited. So, I don't know what they're going to do on offense.
Well, bro, when you see that Pigram has only had 195 passing yards, you start to question.
Yeah. No, and if you remember back to his freshman year in 2016 when he had to come in, the passing numbers, and I don't know if you remember that year, their offense did not do so well after that. Similar to this year, started off with a win against Texas.
Right.
And kind of went downhill after that.
Well, initially, we thought that Texas would be what they are today. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
I thought they were good enough to beat Maryland.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. I definitely did too. But we picked them.
Yeah.
To actually beat Maryland, and then when we saw the spread, we thought differently.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the Ohio State defense, man, they're ranked 56.
Yeah, they're nothing too special for sure this year. This isn't the team that had Nick Bosa at the beginning of the year.
Exactly.
And I think you're seeing how important he was, obviously.
Exactly. And you know, the thing about it for me is when you see let's take it back for a few weeks. When you saw them go against Nebraska at the time with 2-7.
Yep. 2-7. Best 2-7 team you've ever seen.
Hey, I'm thinking to myself.
Hey, those are Urban Meyer's words, not mine. I'm quoting Coach.
I was so disappointed he said that.
Yeah, I think it was an understatement.
I felt like he was trolling.
I think they're the best under 3-win team of all time, but we'll get on that another time.
When you saw Nebraska put up
31 points.
31 points.
Yeah. And really we're in control for most of the game.
Right.
Yeah. It was refreshing for Nebraska fans, but I think ultimately it was pretty concerning for Ohio State fans.
It was.
Especially coming into the final stretch, getting ready for this Michigan game. So you might get a little bit of an oversight here, but I just think Maryland's way too limited offensively to be able to hang.
Yeah, I do too.
With the line being 28.5, this is an Ohio State team that needs to win by 40.
And well, I mean, when I saw the line for today's game, for the Maryland game, I have it at 14.5.
Oh, is it 14.5?
Yes, I want to say it. I believe it is. It's 15. As of today, it's 15.
As of today, it's 15.
It's
that
15.
Changes. Yeah, that's even more. I was confident in 28.5.
Well, based on what you see, it should be.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised that isn't that high.
Well, the over and under is 58.5. When you look at the history of their matchups, you see that Ohio State is 8-0 in the matchup. Not only are they 8-0, but I'm sorry, 4-0 in the matchup. 2 years ago, 2016, it was 62-3.
Yeah.
That's an ass whooping.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, we got 62-3 2 years ago, too, from them. Thanks, guys.
And in 2017, 62-14, they're averaging about 52.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, about 56 points a game.
Well, and like I said, with that loss they have to Purdue, they have to beat. They have to beat this team.
Yes, you
by
do.
at like 30, 40 points to have a realistic shot at the playoff.
Yeah, because I mean, I think when you saw the loss with Purdue against Purdue, and then they come back after the bye week and have the performance they had against Nebraska.
That was and that was what I was worried about, because Nebraska, as a Nebraska fan, we're going into that coming off Bethune-Cookman thinking that Ohio State's got a whole week just to think about us, and they show up and honestly, as a top 10 team, drop an egg. I mean, we were basically we lost that game. Nebraska forced 6 fumbles.
I agree.
They only picked
Nebraska
up 2 of
did.
them, but they forced 6 fumbles, had an interception. They were able to get to Dwayne Haskins. So my biggest concern with Ohio State, given that we were able to get to Dwayne Haskins, is their offensive line. And next week going into Michigan, I don't think it's going to be the same story as this week.
Well, that has been I think that's my big issue. When you saw Dwayne Haskins compared to the quarterbacks in the past, when we seen JT Barrett was that guy that it was 3rd and 2.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to get you 2 yards.
He was the guy who was going to pick up the first down.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's going to go to if he had to go 3 to get those 2 yards, he was going to do it.
Right.
Dwayne Haskins, I've noticed if you get in his face, he will get little happy feet.
He will. And I don't know. Maybe it's me. Sometimes I feel like he has a problem reading coverages.
Well, he is very young.
He is.
I mean, he's what, a sophomore?
Sophomore. Yep. So when you see his skills, he's big arm.
Yep.
Big arm guy. I think for the year he had 33 passing touchdowns,
6 interceptions.
6 interceptions.
Yeah.
You're looking at him and you're saying, "Hey, this is probably one, from an efficiency standpoint." You have JT Barrett, then you had the other guy,
Cardale Jones.
Cordell Jones.
Yeah.
And you're thinking with Cordell, he has an arm just like him.
Yeah.
Big arm, but he's not mobile.
Yeah, Haskins is, I think, a much more complete passer for sure than Cardell. But
definitely.
Cardell was more of a stretch the field guy, whereas Haskins can really, set you up with those quick slants and stuff like that.
I agree.
Quick hitches and all that. But I mean, my biggest problem with Ohio State is they've got 2 running backs that could probably start for 90% of teams in the country, and they don't seem to give them the ball as much as they really should.
Yes, J.K. Dobbins, Mike Weber.
Yeah,
those guys are put. Oh my gosh.
I mean, that was really the turning point of the Nebraska game, is when they started feeding them the ball.
Exactly.
And I just don't get that, because the staple of those the great Ohio State teams have been their rushing attack.
It always has.
That's what took them to the national championship, was the Cardale Jones and Zeke. Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
Ezekiel Elliott, you see those guys, and without question, you knew that, hey, even now you see Mike Weber and Dobbins, and they're averaging 4 to 5 yards per rush.
Yeah. Exactly.
Rush. It's a ground and pound game if they want to have it,
but they just don't seem to want to do that.
They don't.
I mean, you keep seeing Dwayne Haskins throw the ball 40, 50, 60 times. I mean, I'm not sure who they were playing, but it was a couple weeks ago. I think he had 63 pass attempts, and it's just like, when you got 2 tailbacks like that, I don't see why you don't need that.
No, you don't need that at all. So, guys, we're saying, I believe that we're saying, take Ohio State minus the 15.
I think that's free money.
I think that is money in the bank.
I really wouldn't be surprised to see this be like a 21-0 game. Honestly, if they want to play it like that, but I do not. Ohio State's way too talented still. Like, the defense isn't an Ohio State defense that you're used to seeing, but Maryland is decimated. I mean, obviously they just lost their head coach. Their
Yes.
entire coaching staff
that was
yeah.
They should get a messy award for that.
Yeah, no,
the nasty award for that
yeah,
one.
and this really the football team from the players to the top is either beat up and injured from the players' perspective, or we all know what happened with Jordan McNair, and
Yes.
it kind of makes you wonder how invested these kids are, if they know that the university just showed them that their lives don't really matter.
Yeah.
By reinstating him.
Yeah.
Even though they fired him immediately, I mean, when you were talking about a kid's life, you wonder how invested they are.
You do because it goes way beyond football. It goes way beyond football when you talk about that same situation, and when you look at the grand scheme of things, football doesn't really matter.
No, not when you're talking about losing a friend.
No.
And I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be tough for them to play for the team when they don't feel like. Well, I would not feel like the university cared for me. I wouldn't want to represent them, or I wouldn't be as invested. Obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I might not blame them, but are you really gonna go that much? Are you gonna really put yourself over the edge and do the extra things in a football game that need to be done if you don't believe, or if you've had that kind of thing happen?
Right. I really think when it comes down to the game of football, it's a lot of factors that play into getting a kid's mindset right.
Yeah.
Making sure that they are level-headed.
Yep.
Prior to Saturday's game. I mean, it's a lot of, when you look at it, it's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that goes into it, and a lot of just people in your ear, constant fans hearing the trash. From looking at spreads and social media, it's a big money business.
Exactly.
It's a big money business. But when we're talking about these picks, we're going with Ohio State.
Exactly.
Going with Ohio State. I also say take the first half bet as well, because I just believe personally that it's going to be a blowout. I think in the first quarter, maybe 21-0.
I think it'll be one of those games where it's 35-0 at half, 35-3, something like that.
Yes.
I think it'll end up. I think they'll hit their, previous marks of the 60 points.
Yes.
I mean, they might allow Maryland to get a couple garbage time touchdowns, but I'm thinking this game's going to be 62-17, 62-10.
Yeah, I like the 15 going to Ohio State, and I like the overs. The 58.5, I like it to go over.
I would be fairly confident in hitting that just with Ohio State, but
oh yes,
I do think but that is a lot of points, and maybe you get one from Maryland, 55-7, something like that. But
yeah, with 190 passing yards for the season, I don't.
Yeah, well, yeah, and he's only played in backup time, but that's not too far off of what he. I think his all-time passing high. Let's take a second to look this up and see what he's managed to do in his career. I mean, as a freshman when he was starting, it looks like he played in 11 games. He managed 322 passing yards.
I don't think he's going to have 100.
No. Well, and the thing that you see there is he threw the ball 71 times in 11 games.
Yeah.
So, obviously, they have no confidence in him as far as a passer. And then you look down at his rushing stats from that year. He's got 62 carries for 254 yards.
Right.
So, not much of anything there. Not much of anything.
No production at all.
Yeah. And in order to stick within 15 points of Ohio State, you're going to need to be able. It doesn't, and you saw them cover a 15. Let's hypothetically say last week was 15 points they covered, and that was the best defense in the country.
Yes.
So if they can beat Michigan State by 20, then I think they're good.
Yeah, I would definitely. I'm definitely going with Ohio State without question, guys. make sure that you look at that first half bet Friday morning, Saturday morning, because that may be another pickup. If you don't want to go with the overs, definitely go with that.
Yeah, like I said, what I'm gonna do is I'll probably stay away from the over just because I don't really like messing with those. But the 15 points is gonna be on all my sheets for sure.
Yes, yeah. So what do you like, man? Who do you like? Because I picked this Ohio State team because I like that as my pick. What's your first pick? Your 11 o'clock pick.
Let's talk about my hometown boys.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
As we said before in the Ohio State Maryland little segment we had,
yes.
They're the best 3-7 team of all time. Trust the process.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Name one that's better.
Oh my God.
Nobody knows their 3-7 teams off the top of their head.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, on a serious note,
Illinois was terrible, by the way.
Illinois was terrible.
Okay.
We destroyed them. Don't let the final scores fool you. We did pull our starters, our third string quarterback, because we got all those guys who transferred at the beginning of the season to Oregon State. Yeah, Oregon State should be investigated for that, but that's a whole other thing. No one cares about them anyways. So moving on. We pulled the starters against Illinois, and our third string walk-on quarterback fumbled.
He did.
They scored right after that, but we
Why
got
the
back
fuck are you
out
still
there.
watching that game though?
Huh?
The game is over. That game is over.
Oh yeah.
Cut it off.
Well, when you have 3 wins, you got to watch the 3 wins 7 times in order to make yourself feel better.
I feel like that with Auburn.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, they have Scott Frost has his team rolling now. This is not set aside the homerism, which I am. I'll admit that.
Yes,
but
this
team is rolling. This team
offensively,
yes. Defensively, they struggle a little bit, but we're playing a team this week.
A little bit. Ranked 107th.
Yeah.
Team defense.
We struggle a little bit less than Michigan State struggles on offense. I'll put it that way.
They're atrocious.
Yeah. They man their running backs, and this is a real stat. I didn't believe it when I first saw it, but their running backs against Ohio State managed 5 yards on 6 carries.
Yeah, that was. I wonder what D'Antoni's thought process is with that. Like, do you not have any control of how many carries he gets? Because clearly. Well, we understand this is not the same Le'Veon Bell. We don't have. Yeah, they don't have Le'Veon.
Yeah, they don't have the Le'Veon Bell, or there's a long line of Michigan State running backs that have been real good.
Exactly.
And that has been a staple of D'Antonio, D'Antonio, excuse me.
D'Antonio.
We're not talking about the NBA.
Yes. No, we're not.
But I mean, this year it just You look at the running backs, and their leading rusher has 360 yards, but you think, oh, well, they're probably just running the ball because they've got a lights-out passing attack. No. Wrong.
He has more interceptions than he has touchdowns.
That's right.
9 interceptions, I think.
And his 1,800-yard mark is not very impressive.
My gosh.
Especially when you look across the field, you got Adrian Martinez.
He's balling.
He's
balling.
He's statistically having the best season any freshman quarterback is having.
Even kill. 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, a few bad interceptions.
Yeah, he's definitely had. Those are to come with a freshman quarterback. He's definitely had those. That he had one against. Oh, I forget who it was. I think it was Minnesota or Purdue. But we were driving down the field around about the 20-yard line. For some reason, he threw it 5 yards behind the line, straight at I think it was J.D. Spielman. Excuse me.
It was.
I think it was at his feet, and
he drops it.
Yeah, that was things like that. That's typical of a Nebraska team, but we haven't been seeing that as much these last couple weeks. You finally got Stanley Morgan, who
he's been playing big.
He's
been playing big ball.
That guy could start for anyone.
The way you're talking, though, the way you're speaking, they're going to beat them.
Yes. I think they are going to beat them.
So you're taking them with the money line.
I would take them straight up.
Straight up.
I would.
plus the 2 points. Forget the 2 points. Let me get the plus 120, 150.
Exactly. And this is why, because Michigan State's offense, you brought up how bad the Nebraska defense is.
Definitely.
Their offense neutralizes any bad defense.
My damn nose don't even bleed.
Exactly.
They can't stop it.
Exactly. They cause it.
They do.
They cause the bleed. And I mean, we don't even know which quarterback's going to start.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So you got already, I won't say terrible about Lewerke, but he's not a star.
No, he's not.
He's not the guy who's going to win you a game, and then that makes you wonder about this backup. Rocky Lombardi.
Yeah, Rocky Lombardi.
That sounds like a made-up player. When you create a dynasty in the old NCAA games. Rocky Lombardi.
I thought it was...
They're trying to have their own version of Rudy.
And that's what I'm thinking. When I saw it the first time, I said, Rudy.
Yeah. Rocky. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
he's not, I don't know. I shouldn't say he's not as bad. I mean, last week he had 19 attempts, 7 completions, 92 overall yards, but their passing attack is bad, man.
Yeah,
but they don't have a pass attack or running game.
And see, that's where I think we have the advantage, because our defense, our offense is going to be able to score points. And don't get me wrong, the last time we played a defense of this caliber was at Michigan, and that did not go well. But
it didn't.
This is not the same team from them. They've lost about 5 starters to transfer since then. Since the beginning of the season, since Scott Frost took over, he's lost about I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 players.
Right.
So I think we got all the the players that were against the process, against the becoming a winning, developing winning habits, and that that's something that goes beyond just doing the right thing on the field.
Well, you look at what Nebraska has done offensively, but then the question I ask is based on what Michigan State has done this season. I mean, let's talk about it. Michigan, they only allowed 21 points.
True.
Northwestern, 29 points. I think there was a lot. That was kind of pretty excessive. But I think they're still finding themselves until they get to that Penn State week. That Penn State week was the week I thought Michigan State was able to say, hey, listen, we have found our identity on defense. Now we need to create some offense. And I see 21 points against, they scored exactly against Penn State. They only scored 7 against Michigan. They come back the next week, 23 against Purdue, 24 against a depleted Maryland team. But they're getting the offense somewhere, somehow.
Yep.
Special teams has been big for them. The defense, we saw that with the Ohio State game, within the first half, 9 to 6 or something like that, 9 to 3. And you were able to think to yourself, like, maybe Ohio State may not cover this 3 points.
Yeah.
But,
you did think that, and then, you had that huge hit in the end zone where I can't remember if Ohio State got a safety off of it or a touchdown, but that was the play that Lewerke was injured.
Yes. And my fault, guys. It was 7-3 going into halftime. So 7-3 going into halftime. You're thinking to yourself, maybe Michigan State is going to make this again.
And I do think they're, a lot of these offensive totals that they have are, they have to have a possession here or there in these games where their defense is producing those points, whether it be from a turnover or what, and maybe not scoring a defensive touchdown, but putting the offense in a position where they basically can't not score.
Yes. When you look at the history of the matchup between Nebraska and Michigan State,
we got their number.
Yes.
We always have. I don't know why that is. That's one of the few Big Ten teams we've been consistently successful
Right.
against. You talk about 8-2 all time. The last time they came to Lincoln, I was at that game. They were the number 9. They were the 9th ranked team in the country.
They were.
We were about the same where we are right now, 4-7, I believe.
We up with Mike Riley.
So this is about the same situation, same team, and you got to remember, this is the guys like Stanley Morgan, Divine Ezigbo. Those guys, this is their senior day. This is, and these guys aren't going to be able to play for a bowl game. So the way I look at it, this week, this is their conference final.
It is.
Next week's their national championship.
Yeah.
So they're gonna. I don't think that. I truly believe that Scott Frost is gonna coach. He's gonna put that much extra into the game plan for those guys that he couldn't. He couldn't get them to a bowl game. He couldn't get them to a championship like he wanted to. But what he can do is put them in the best position to finish out this season. I've been of the thought process that they're gonna split these two games. Just because they have to travel to Iowa. We'll see how this week plays out, but the way they've been playing, the way Iowa's been playing, I right now I'm leaning more towards I think that they're going to finish the season 2-0. But
you think Nebraska will finish 2-0?
Yes, I think they're going to win their next 2 games.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
Oh my. Right here on one team.
Yeah. Optimism at an all-time high.
Oh my God.
Trust the process.
Wow.
Yeah. And this offense is clicking at a historic level for that program.
Yeah, 450
yards in 7 games, I believe.
That's impressive.
Since that Michigan game, that was really, the week after that, that's when Scott Frost said that things really started clicking. Like, they didn't go into the Michigan game believing that they could win.
Yeah, this past matchup was the most points they've scored since they've been in the conference.
Yep, in a conference game.
Yeah. So, 54 points?
Yeah, and it took him, I think, basically the beginning of the season, I think that was more of a testament to how bad things were, not necessarily, in the locker room or this or that, but just, with the habits. That's something that Scott Frost kept talking about. I think it was the leftover habits from the Riley era, maybe a little bit of the attitude from Pelini, but now you're seeing this team, they're not getting flagged.
They're not.
They're doing a much better. They're winning the turnover margin consistently, and when you have an offense like that, if you're able to create a turnover, that's the game.
It is.
If you're able to win the turnover margin,
you win.
If you're able to do something on special teams, on defense, score a touchdown, produce a safety, something like that.
Right.
You're going to win the game. This is a very interesting stat too. It has nothing to do with this. I don't think we're going to block a punt, but teams who block punts win their games 90% of the time.
Yeah, y'all ain't blocking shit.
Yeah, so if it comes down to that, I think if Michigan State's able to block one of our punts, which we've had an issue with, you're going to see them win.
Yeah.
But
I don't see that
special
happening.
teams, I think, is going to be a big factor. I don't think it's going to win us the game.
I agree.
But I think it could lose us the game.
I agree with that. I agree with that. The last matchup was 2015. You guys played each other.
Yes.
39-38.
39-38.
We getting a 2-minute warning for my guy Alex. We're gonna wrap it up soon.
Might go into overtime.
We may go that way.
Yeah.
But 39-38. That was a great game.
It was.
Great game.
That was a come from behind victory. That was Brandon Riley scored the game winning touchdown in the last minute or two.
Yes.
That was one of those games under Riley that you thought the momentum was going forward. Obviously, that didn't work out. But I think it's a similar type game for them. And I think this is a team that they know because all the seniors on the team, they've beaten Michigan State.
Right.
They were on that team. They won that game. So they're not going to go into this game. I think the biggest difference you've seen is this team, you'd see them in past years go into these types of games, and you could see that they were maybe not scared, but they didn't believe that they could win.
Yeah. Not with Mike Riley. I mean, Mike Riley just, I didn't like him coming from Oregon State to Nebraska initially in the first place. I didn't like your AD. I thought that was a bad.
I-Course was a train wreck.
I thought that I-Course situation was a disaster before it even started. But I mean, now You have Scott Frost, who came from Central Florida, who had a phenomenal year. They beat Auburn in a bowl game, and they're still riding that wave. And when you look at what he has now brought to Nebraska and the way they're putting up points every week, and this Adrian Martinez kid, man, I like him. I like him a lot. I like him.
He's the only Martinez that's ever played for Nebraska. I have to stress that. There was no other Martinez.
The other one was a running back, a receiver. The other one was a receiver.
And, like I said, the reason I'm so confident with this is it's going to be the game that Scott Frost coaches harder. He won't ever say it, but for those seniors on their senior day, he's going to put in more. He's going to go, because those are the guys who've stuck through this whole thing for him and turned the season from what looked like you're not going to win a game except for maybe Bethune-Cookman in Illinois or Minnesota.
I was thinking that too.
But I mean, when we were going into Minnesota, no one believed that.
I believed you guys would beat Minnesota.
I did too, but there was a lot of doubt from within the Husker fan base, just based off experience, and that's the same team that beat us by 30 last year. So there was a lot of that. But again, I think it's just it's a huge moment for those seniors. Those guys have fought for Frost. They for really no real reward at the end of the tunnel.
No.
So I think it's just going to be one of those games where I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska's probably going to score on their first drive. They've done that for 7 games in a row, 6 games in a row, something like that. So I think they're gonna get up early, and then if they can get up by 10 points in this game, I don't think Michigan State has the offense to catch up.
They don't. I don't think they have the offense, but I know that it's 11 o'clock game, and those games are. They can be tough.
Yeah, they can be tough on the home team too.
But the good thing about Nebraska, I think the good thing about Nebraska and for Michigan State is it's not going to be cold. It's going to be about 50 to 60 degrees going into Memorial Stadium.
Yep. And, just looking at the passing numbers, that I think that plays into our favor.
It does.
Because it's going to be a more friendly air raid type environment or atmosphere or whatever you want to say. But the elements, I think, will allow them to play more to their game plan. But I just, hopefully they pound the rock with the Zigbo, get this win. But I like them to win straight up. But I think they'll cover the spread of 1.5 pretty easily.
Oh man! So Grant, you heard it first, guys. Grant is taking the win, the +2 against Michigan State. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel as though you have persuaded me to want to do the same. But you know what? So. Michigan State. I'm gonna stick with you. Spartan Nation. I'm gonna stick with you. I said, hey, I believe Spartan's gonna do it. Give me the -2, and we're gonna roll with it. I do like the overs. The 49.5. I do like the overs in this game.
Yeah, I would probably go with that too. I like the game to be somewhere in the maybe 31, 24, 28, 24 range.
I like that.
27, 24 even. Somewhere in that range. I like that because I think we're going to score more than 20. I think they'll probably hit 20.
Yeah. If I'm taking the game, if I am picking this game, I don't pick anything but the overs. I'm taking the overs only. I would not bet this game, but
I would stay away from the over under because it could be it could be one of those games where it's 31-35 randomly, or it could be a 10-3 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Spartan Nation. I'm going with you. I'm gonna stick with you.
Well, that is our first split.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That in a while.
So a minor disagreement, but that's to be expected. I'm never going to roll against my boys.
Hey, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I roll against Auburn all the time, though. So I'm just putting it out there. So, hey, guys. So you heard it. Brent is going with, Nebraska?
Nebraska.
He's going with the Nebraska. The Corn Huskers.
That's
He's
right.
going Corn Husker. And I'm going with Spartan Nation, guys.
Tave's got the Spartans.
Yeah, I'm going
Well,
there.
you know, one of us has to be wrong.
We're going to see. Now, let me ask you this. So, we roll into this 2:30 game.
Rolling into 2:30.
Rolling into 2:30.
I believe.
I'm liking West Virginia and this Oklahoma State game. You know what? The reason I picked this 2:30 game or this actual 2:30, I don't know, fuck it. I picked it because I thought it could be upset. I thought it could be upset. And I like West Virginia and this Oklahoma State game. I like this. But I believe that Oklahoma State could upset West Virginia. I saw what they did last week against Oklahoma. I know they lost in overtime, but bro, the way they're putting up points, I mean, it has been impressive. This Taylor Cornelius kid, 3,100 passing yards already this season. I mean, the kid is slinging the ball, but the person I like more than that, I like this Tylan Wallace kid, this receiver, 1,272 reception yards, nine touchdowns. He should be up for the Bucklicknikoff Award.
Yes, he was named a semifinalist this week, one of 11. It's basically at this point just a Big 12 Receiver of the Year contest.
Yes, definitely.
I believe 6 of them are in there. Somewhere 4 to 6. Yeah. You got guys from all. In fact, you got a guy up for it who's across the field from him.
Yes.
In Sills.
Yes.
David Sills.
The
5th.
And
please, Esquire.
And he's balling down there, West Virginia, man. I mean, the guy has almost 700 reception yards, 12 touchdowns.
What's crazy about that is he's only had 49 catches.
I know. That is impressive.
So
that's about he's roughly about 14 yards per catch.
Yep. And he's scoring a touchdown more often than everyone in 5 catches.
Let me tell you something. When it comes to West Virginia and Oklahoma, these boys ball. They ball, man.
Yeah.
Will Greer, I like him.
On one side of the ball.
Yeah.
Defense. Do they have a defense?
No.
Is there one rostered?
Bro, the entire Big 12 doesn't have a defense.
Yes. I've noticed that.
I was thinking that with Oklahoma, they would be better when Mike Stoops was there. Then they had to get rid of his ass. The teams were averaging 40 points.
Yeah.
When it came to.
Isn't that the scoring average for the whole league? Minus Iowa State and K-State?
It is.
I mean, if you're, we're talking betting, obviously. So we got West Virginia -4. We got the over-under at 73.
Yes.
One might say that's a lot of points. I would say if you're looking at a Big 12 game,
go over.
Probably go over.
Go over.
So what we're talking about, 73 points. You're talking about 36, 37 is what you need. I think let's take a look at these recent scores that they put up. Well, you got 58-14 for West Virginia at Baylor. You got 42-41 at Texas for West Virginia. 47-10 TCU.
Hey, man, let me tell you something.
Let's go through Oklahoma State real quick, too.
Wait a minute. Oklahoma State, when I saw that Oklahoma State score last week, 48-47, when I saw that, I thought to myself, this is not supposed to happen, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, this is not supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
You guys are supposed to be a college playoff team.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to allow 47.
They want to be.
Yeah, that's not happening. I don't see them getting in anyway. That's my opinion.
I don't either. I think
Michigan's
you get
playing big time ball. Clemson, they're not gonna lose. Alabama. Okay. Speaking of Alabama, side note. Did you see that spread for the Citadel game this week?
I did. What is it, 51.5?
My God. Listen, let me tell you something. and I want all you guys to know this. Me as a former player, I have integrity as a man. I am not about to allow myself to look at a spread of 52 points.
No.
Like, I mean, yeah, well, shit, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see it. I will see the spread. But that's embarrassing, bro. A half a century?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is the SEC bye week, so. Oh, wait. No, wait. That's right. They play games.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, I agree. The SEC, they don't have any match. Nobody is really playing anyone. I mean, I think the best matchup is Arkansas versus Mississippi State this week.
Yeah,
but
that's embarrassing.
When you
I don't know, Middle Tennessee Tech or St. Mary's Sister School of the Blind.
Hey,
You know,
Middle
those
Tennessee
are
State
quality.
for Kentucky.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee State. Rice is playing LSU.
The fearsome Blue Raiders and Owls. But anyways, let's get back to the West Virginia Oklahoma State game.
Wait, man, wait.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were gonna let me throw in more shots and then move on.
Wait a minute, man. When I saw that Alabama spread, I thought to myself, like, Citadel should go out here and just say to themselves, like, look, we're not going to win this game.
No. If we score 3 points, it'll be a miracle. I mean, if you score 10 points, you've won the Super Bowl.
I agree. I mean,
hashtag the Citadel.
Man, I know.
Yeah, makes you wonder why they're allowed to play a team
they shouldn't.
like that.
You should not. I know that, everyone needs an off week, but that's another bye.
Just take
bro.
the bye week.
Yeah, just take the bye. I mean,
why even make them play the game?
You shouldn't. Tua. I can't say this. Tua's
gonna play for 10 minutes in that game.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's still kind of banged up in that knee. They don't have Jalen. They got this Mac Jones kid, third string. Listen, this is a side note once again. If you're betting that game, take the first half, whatever the first half is tomorrow.
I'd leave the
Saturday.
52 alone.
Yeah, leave the 52
because
alone.
I don't think you're gonna see
any.
It'll probably end up being like, I don't know, 42-3. 42-0. It'll probably be a shutout.
Yeah, it will.
But they might get something against the ninth string Alabama band.
Yeah, Nick Saban is going to allow, and we getting the halftime card. Nick Saban is going to allow Tua to be in for maybe the first quarter, I believe. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to play the second quarter. I think first quarter maybe about 28-0.
Yeah,
roughly.
Yep.
And then after that, you're going to pull him out. So,
no, I mean, you don't leave Tua in there.
No, Heisman, he's winning the Heisman.
Yeah.
Hands down. That brother is balling.
Yeah, they would. I mean, he would at this point. They've locked up the SEC championship game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're going.
Yeah, definitely going.
Okay.
Definitely going. Them in Georgia.
They both locked it up, right?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's definitely a lot.
So unless
I don't want them to play Auburn next week because Alabama's going to beat the shit out of Auburn. Auburn,
yeah, that's going to be a tough one. There's going to be a little revenge there, too.
Man, 50 points, I think. Damn, Auburn.
Yeah.
We look terrible. Jared Stidham, you disappointed me this year, guy. You definitely did.
Yeah.
I was hurt.
Yeah. No, we were both optimistic before the year.
We were.
I remain optimistic.
I'm not. This shit's over, bro.
Over.
Back to this game. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't lose.
No, that's fine. We both went off on there. That's your SEC segment of the week.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want it to be long because all these bye games.
Yeah, and I also, quick side note, want to just maybe just switch this segment over to my thoughts on the SEC and the top 25 and the polling and all that.
Oh my god!
Because let's talk. I'm gonna
a bashing session, guys. A bashing session.
As you know, as a white male, people have told me that I'm entitled to white privilege, which I don't refute. I understand that's the way the world works.
Yeah,
and,
white privilege. Like a
the SEC is the white privilege of college football.
How do you figure that?
Okay, let's take a look. Rewind 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Where was Kentucky in the polls?
7th.
Okay.
I want to say 7th. They played, 7th against Missouri, I believe. They were going 7th against Missouri. and then they played
against Missouri, right?
yes, and then
And
they played
how
Florida.
good of a team is Missouri? Would we say?
I believe they're coming along. My opinion, I think they're coming along. I think that Missouri was supposed to be better.
Missouri. Trust me, I've known this team my whole life.
Yeah,
Missouri.
with
We could.
the Chase Daniels days.
Yes.
The Chase Daniels days.
Even further
remember
back,
that.
I
You should
remember the
remember
Brad
that.
Smith days.
Yeah.
But then they moved to the SEC. Everyone's talking about how great the SEC is. They go to 3 SEC championships in a row? 2?
Yeah.
That was pretty embarrassing for the East. But let's go over to the SEC real quick. On my little computer navigation device, you'll have to forgive me because this was all improv. So now I'm pulling up some Kentucky. So they're 7-3. They're ranked 17th. Let's see who they've beaten that should warrant them. And I'm going to go back to 2 weeks ago when they were ranked 9th. All right? Cool?
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
So we're going to see what
y'all see, guys. He likes
in
to
the
do this.
world.
That Big Ten conference, though. We don't really talk about
The Big
that
Ten
much.
is not.
We don't talk about that much.
To clarify, the Big Ten is not as good as the SEC. I don't believe that.
I just want y'all to know it's
I
not.
just want everyone to know the truth about the SEC and how
Wisconsin did not. They didn't pull their weight this year at all.
They did not. Wisconsin's been
Penn State.
no, no, not at all. Both those teams remind me a lot of Kentucky. Let's see here. So the first time they went into Florida, right?
Yes.
They got a 27-16 win.
They did.
Whoop-de-doo. So who else has done that? Let's go ahead and look real quick. I believe
they
it was
beat LSU. Florida beat LSU.
Oh wait, Missouri. That's right. Missouri went in there and whooped them in their own house.
Beat down at the swamp.
It was a beatdown.
It was a beatdown.
That was embarrassing.
It was.
That was a night game.
Florida,
they got hammered.
you let us down.
Don't worry. Florida's next on my list. With their, I believe they were 11th going into the Missouri game. So we've got a loss at Texas A&M, and then 2 weeks later, somehow this team was ranked 9th
against Georgia.
What's Texas A&M? 6-4? Yeah, I mean, pretty good team, right?
Georgia.
Should Kentucky be in the top 10? No. Should they be ranked ahead of Central Florida? No. Because UCF has not lost in 2 years.
Hey, I want to put this out there too. With UCF. We're gonna talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
But UCF is playing. They're playing ball, man.
They are. Yeah.
They're playing ball.
Well, I think that they deserve the credit of not losing. I get that they haven't played the teams that some of these, but I mean during SEC bye week, we're not going to see them jump anyone based on the teams that they play.
They got Cincinnati this week though.
Yeah, they do. Cincinnati under
That's a big one.
Luke Fickell has been a little bit better.
Yes. Okay, we're getting the 2 minute warning. Hey Grant, you got to come back to that. Hey, I want to say, guys, that go with Okie State this week. I think it could be an upset. Go with Okie State this week.
I am a hard Mountaineer in this game, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So we've got Mike Gunny talking about liberalism and snowflakes and
what was that about?
Well, it was, he's always gotten upset about various things, like let us not forget the "I'm a man, I'm 40" rant.
My goodness.
But
he called him a snowflake.
Yes, he did.
But
he
he's
did,
a
and he was
fraudulent.
directly talking about his player that transferred. When you go back to that "I'm a man, I'm 40," the player who's involved in that, Bobby Reed, the quarterback. I don't know if you remember him. He was the guy right before Zach Robinson.
Yes, I do.
He was one of their, he was a really good player.
He was.
And that, when Mike Gundy said that, the player took great offense to that, ended up transferring because of his comments.
And he should have.
Because he said that obviously he doesn't view me as a man, which is a 22-year-old.
And I felt the same way.
Yeah.
I felt the same way.
I think that with this game, you're kind of seeing the same thing. And like I touched on earlier with the players playing for someone, like how do you know? It could go either way, but how do you know the rest of the players aren't on board with the guy who transferred? Maybe he had some kind of family issue he had to go close to home. I don't know. But there are acceptable reasons to want to transfer, and this isn't a new thing. He's blaming it on liberalism, this and that. But
Yeah,
transfers have happened always. Junior college is literally
Yes.
designed to transfer kids into big-time programs.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and in the modern landscape, yeah, like kids have more opportunities in more schools than they did before because, but now you can go to Rice and go to the NFL.
We're going to overtime.
We're going into overtime.
Overtime.
You can get in the NFL from like a school like Louisiana Tech,
Yeah, you
Rice,
can. Yeah.
UCF. Back then, you weren't going to get recognized. The odds of you getting into the NFL back then at a mid-major were way, way, way lower.
They were. They were. I agree.
There's also, I think like 50 more Division I football teams now. There's a lot more options.
It is a lot more options.
And news travels faster with with all the social media.
Yes.
They're going to find people are more well connected, and with that,
And it's a business. It's a business.
It is.
We talked about that. It's a big time. College football is a big time business. Kids are not making the money like you would in the NFL.
And they're exploited.
And exactly. And you got listen, man, at the end of the day, you have to look out for your best interest. I understand Mike Gundy wants to go out here and make this big hoorah about what kids should not do and how fickle they are. But when it's all said and done, you're making almost $5 million a year. Fickle? Come on, Mike. Come on. I thought that was a shot when they're not getting paid. We can talk about they get an education, but come on, man.
Yeah.
This guy's making $5 million. You shouldn't talk about a kid like that, but when he's looking out for the best interest for him and his family, his future.
You don't know what his motivation is.
Exactly.
You don't know if like for a lot of these kids, football is we grow up in the country where people say chase your dream, chase your dream, chase your dream.
Yes, chase it.
If that's his dream and he has a better opportunity at another school, you shouldn't be the coach who tries to tamper with. At the end of the day, it's a kid.
It is.
You have to remember that. You have to do what's best for them, and what he did isn't best for him. I think the rest of the team will see that. I think West Virginia's coming into this. They're playing for a spot in the college football playoff still. They're playing for a spot in their conference championship.
Right.
I don't think they're going to – I think this team is going to come in there. I think it'll be a shootout. I think it'll be –
it's definitely going to be a shootout.
I think it'll be
points,
close. It is one of those games where you look at the line and you're like, does Vegas know something that we don't?
And they always do.
Yeah, and they always do. But I think on this one, you're looking at like 52-45.
You know what?
West
I'm feeling
Virginia
fickle
wins.
too, goddammit. I'm feeling fickle too. I'm going West Virginia too. Let's go West Virginia Mountaineers. Make it happen for that 2:30 game. I think it's going to be big time.
They better, because I'm gonna go out there and say that I've convinced you.
Yes,
I've persuaded you.
I'm
All right.
persuaded.
Well,
I'm persuaded. Take them with that 4.5, guys. This week at 2:30. Make sure you get those picks in at 2:30 or about 2:15, just in case the line moves.
Yeah, you definitely want to get in there before the lock time.
Yes, get in there before the lock time. Get those picks in for sure. Especially this Nebraska pick. My guy.
He likes the Huskers.
My guy. Pick it. So yeah, guys, that's what we got for the 2:30 game. Now, hey, by the way, Talin, have a big game for me, big guy.
He's gonna need it.
I'm pulling for you for the
The Bucknikoff.
But the Bucknikoff Award. Come on, let's go. So on to the next one. So Grant, who do you have, man, for your 2:30 pick, man?
We're gonna cheat a little bit.
Okay.
I
like to.
A little cheat time zone. So we've been talking about the 3:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Central. We're Central, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, I like that cheat.
When we say 2:30, that's what we're
yeah.
talking about. I'm gonna go with the game at Yankee Stadium at 1:30
no
Central
way.
Time. Yeah, a little bit of a cheat,
Are you?
but it's at a weird time slot. Yeah, we're
Holy
talking
shit.
Syracuse, Notre Dame.
Oh my gosh! You know that's gonna be big, man.
Yep. And this is a
big
game in which Notre Dame is favored by, the line is Notre Dame -10.
-10.
The over-under's at 65.
Yes.
You guys know how I feel about over-unders. I stay away.
Stay? I don't. Not me. I'm
No.
not saying away. I'm there.
I do find it interesting that
it's a neutral site.
Well, if you want to say neutral, for those of you who don't know, Syracuse is in New York, so it's going to be a home game for them.
But it's a home game for Notre Dame, though.
Notre Dame is listed as the home team for some reason,
man.
unless I looked at that wrong.
No, you looked at it right.
Notre Dame is listed as a home team in Syracuse's backyard.
Number 3, Fighting Irish.
Syracuse, of course, led by 18th year senior Eric Dungy. He's got 14 passing touchdowns on the year. He's got another 12 on the ground. He's almost at the 3,000 total yard mark for the season.
Something. Eric Dungy, no lie, bro. It feels like he's been there for 9 years.
Yeah, no, it really seems like
he does, man. It's crazy how long it seems like he's been starting. I felt like that with Kenyon Drake when he was at Alabama.
I felt like that too. He's another one of those guys. Eric Dungy.
Kenyon Drake was there for 20 goddamn years.
Yep. The last time I'll speak his name, Taylor Martinez. He was our starting quarterback for about 9.
Yeah, the dude with the foot injury.
Mm-hmm. He couldn't turn right or left, just straight line. So,
Reminded me of Dwayne Wade. Sorry, Dwayne. No shot at you or Gabriel. Hi.
And so who do you got in this, Tave?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I really like Syracuse and the 10 points. I want the 10. Give me the 10 plus 10. The 10 plus 10.
Yep. I am in agreement with that. I am going to take Syracuse plus 10, but who do you think is going to win the game? Because I'm a little on the fence on the actual victor of the game, but I think that plus 10 for Syracuse is pretty enticing given all the teams that Syracuse has played. You got your Clemsons.
Right.
You got a quality win against NC State.
You do.
51-41, if I'm not mistaken. You got, I believe they lost by they lost by a touchdown to Pittsburgh. Excuse me.
That shouldn't have happened.
Pittsburgh has been getting people though. Notre Dame earlier in the year had a little bit of trouble with Pittsburgh.
They did.
They did.
But I was actually just speaking of just Notre Dame, bro. I was really impressed by Wimbush last week.
Yeah.
First start since September 15th. And that was, prior to that, they were only putting up about 20 plus points.
True.
So with the way he came out last week against Florida State, mind you, Florida State is not the same Florida State with Mr. Bowden. So with him having three touchdowns there at that game, he only had like 130 passing yards. But he looked as if he was in control. Yeah. Last week he looked like he was in his comfort zone. And that, I thought initially that is what we were expecting from him.
For a guy to be the starter pretty much immediately, I think he was a redshirt freshman or a freshman.
Yep.
One of the two. But this guy was given the keys pretty much immediately.
He was.
Got benched. Got an opportunity to play, showed that he can win a game, and it was it's not the Florida State of Jimbo Fisher or Bobby Bowden like you said.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden. I'm sorry, Bobby.
It's still a prime time game against a traditional rival.
Yes.
Or, the entire state of Florida is for Notre Dame, but prime time game showed up. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. They won by 29, 30 points. But this week you get Ian Book back. So you're talking about a guy with 15 touchdowns passing on the year.
Ian Book is balling.
In about half a season. I'm not sure when he got inserted in the starting lineup, but he's been lights out when he's been healthy. But, this on the flip side of the ball, Notre Dame really hasn't played too many offenses that can show you the looks that Syracuse had.
I agree. I agree.
Syracuse is very balanced. They've got the 2,200 yards in the air. They got the 2,100 yards on the ground. Very balanced. The best offense that Notre Dame's going to play
is going to be there.
And it's a team that really Syracuse is a team that kind of plays to who they're playing against, I think, a little bit. Not, not consistently. They do have the blowout wins, but, they're losing by 4 points to Clemson.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
I remember us talking about that when the actual game happened, and we went with the Syracuse Clemson game, and
we were pretty confident about Clemson.
We were.
But
Syracuse showed up.
Yeah, Dino Babers has them playing, football like we were used to growing up back in the 90s, back in the 80s.
When you look at the teams like you were saying, Grant, when you see Notre Dame, you don't see a team that they played against that had an offense. I mean, Michigan is the best team on the list, but Stanford wasn't it this year. You're missing Bryce Love, which has hurt them tremendously.
Well, I think he played in that game, didn't he?
I mean, but he was really limited though.
Yeah, he hasn't. Bryce Love hasn't been the same guy
since last year. He should have left for the draft last year.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been very limited all year.
I think it's just been very easy for teams to kind of key on him with them.
Right.
And I think Notre Dame was able to. We can actually pull up this Notre Dame.
Well, Florida State. I mean, in Florida State, we thought Florida State was going to be a better team under Willie Taggart. Mr. Willie.
Hey,
pause.
I have
just
a side note on Willie Taggart. How does a guy?
My dad called me out of Alabama. He said, "Hey, listen, is he going to make it out? Is he going to make it out this year? Is he going to make it out this year?" And I told him, I said, "I don't know how. I know of no way with Willie coming out of this year. I didn't think it was possible. I did not think it was possible that Willie Taggart was going to make it out of Florida State. And they set up these GoFundMe pages. That's embarrassing.
I didn't even hear about
FSU fan base, y'all should be embarrassing yourselves. I know you guys are atrocious this year. You expected more. You shouldn't have done that, though. That was not cool. But my dad called me. Big Craig Mack called me and said, "Hey, he's terrible. Get rid of him."
And that's something that I've believed for a while. I don't understand how you keep going. So he consistently his last 3 records, are before promotion. So his year before he got promoted to or he got hired as the head coach at Oregon, he was 8-4 at USF.
Yeah.
They bring in Charlie Strong. They go 10-2.
I know. Charlie got the
Oregon brings in Willie Taggart. 8-4.
Yes.
They get rid of, he leaves for Florida State. Where are they this year? They're certainly not worse.
Oh my gosh.
And now you're seeing Florida State really just take a nosedive.
Man, they're playing with no heart.
It sucks to see that for a guy like DeAndre Francois, who
it is.
That's someone I respect.
Yeah.
More than out of all the starting quarterbacks in the country, I think I have more respect for him. Yeah. Just that guy has stood in there and taken some of the biggest shots I've ever seen a college quarterback.
Man, Francois, man, I remember you playing against Alabama and they busting that ass. But
they got PTSD from that game.
They were saying Rammer, Jammer, Yeller.
They in fact were.
Damn, give him hell, Alabama. They was busting his ass.
Well, let's get back to like we said, Florida State didn't prove to be any kind of match for Notre Dame. But on the flip side, Syracuse took care of business last week with Louisville 54-23. We all know how terrible Louisville is this year. It's kind of a weird year for the ACC. But luckily for this game, there's a lot of ACC teams on Notre Dame's slate for throughout the year, so I think we got a pretty good feel of what's, where they're at in terms of that conference. As far as, how they line up.
The independence, especially when you don't have a bowl game, they don't have a bowl opponent. This is going to be huge for them. I thought initially they were going to put that as one of the college game day games, but we have UCF.
We do have UCF, which we'll touch on in a minute.
Yeah, ESPN going to UCF this weekend, but
with Notre Dame, this game, they win this game, they just take care of business next week at USC, who's
over.
not, anything near. That's another team that's overrated every year for no reason.
No Reggie Bush here or there.
No, there's no one there.
No, it's not.
There's no one there. But then you got Syracuse, who's 7-2 in conference, I think, 6-2 in conference. They're not going to be able to get a chance to play in their conference championship.
Right.
So, going back to the theme of people playing in championships, even though they're not, I think this is going to be their, it's going to be a couple things. It's going to be their chance to announce themselves to the country that, we're Syracuse, we're back.
Right.
It's going to be a chance for Eric Dungy to ride off as their white knight, and the guy who started their resurrection as a football team.
Yes.
It's going to be their opportunity to get themselves into a better bowl game. This is really, and I believe this is going to be, on NBC. So that's going to be a national game.
National game, 1:30.
Yep.
1:30 national game.
So I think this is, this is time for Syracuse to show that they belong as far as, being on the same field with a team of that caliber. They've done that. So I'm pretty confident that they're going to cover that 10 points. Not so confident that they're going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did pull it off. I think Notre Dame takes this one by 3.
I can see that happening. I definitely love Syracuse plus the 10 points.
Yeah.
On NBC, national game, the way they played against Clemson,
Yep.
It has shown me they had arrived.
Yeah, and I will say this: if Ian Book isn't healthy, if he doesn't play for some reason, or if he comes out there and plays and he's not the Ian Book that we've seen through his first 8 starts or whatever it's been, Notre Dame's going to have. I would be worried. I would be very worried about this game if I was Notre Dame.
Yeah, we took this to overtime because that's how worried we are about this.
Exactly.
This is a big time game for Notre Dame. Notre Dame has to have this in order to get in the playoffs because if you lose it, it's over for you. Yep. Like I said, conference game.
Yep.
It's a big deal.
You're going to need some help. They don't, like I've said before, they're not going to get the same respect an SEC team gets. Or I don't even know if, Michigan comes out and, say Michigan comes out, beats the brakes off Ohio State, I think they're a lock.
Oh, yeah.
As long as they take care of business in the conference championship.
I agree.
But, Notre Dame probably it's going to be best for them if they go undefeated, obviously. It'll be really tough.
It will.
But if you lose to Syracuse in New York, that's probably the best case scenario if you do end up picking the loss, but it's going to be, a lot is on the line for both these teams. I think Notre Dame has a little bit more on the line, and I think that with Ian Book, they're gonna find a way to eke it out, but I would not be surprised at all if they don't.
Ian, make sure you taped up good. Coach, make sure your guy is ready.
He's going to need to be.
Because they're not playing in New York. Those guys are coming to play ball.
And this is going to be interesting fact. Syracuse's senior day was last week.
Yes,
but this is going to be Eric Dungy's actual last game in front of the hometown crowd. So this, I think they're going to treat as their senior day. It's going to be their crowd.
New York. Hey, listen, I know without a shadow of a doubt, those 10 points, I shouldn't say that. Don't guarantee that. Let's bet a coffee on it. 10 points.
I'll take that.
Let's bet a coffee on it. 10 points. Take Syracuse. Do not mess with that over and under. We don't think that that's going to be prominent.
I don't, because a lot of people don't realize that Notre Dame has, as far as scoring defense, they're in the top 20.
It's not promising.
It might end up being like that, but Notre Dame doesn't seem to be in those games where you get into the 60, 70-point range.
Yeah, and this new defensive coordinator they have, Clark Lee, out of Notre Dame.
Yep.
They saying he could be big time.
Yep. They're thinking that this is just a road stop.
Yes, new defensive coordinator, linebacker coach.
Yeah. Well, you remember last year with their defense. He's obviously, he's replacing. I'm not sure who they brought. They fired someone midseason. Brought in
Elko or something like that.
Well, there was a guy before that. Elko was the guy that replaced.
Vander.
Yeah. He was awful. He was an awful defensive
He was at Auburn.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And as we all know that Tave's not very confident with them right now.
Man, Auburn, you guys let me down this year. I don't even want to touch base on it. Next week, though.
Yeah, we'll have to have your thoughts on Gus Malzahn and his future.
Whew, man, that'd be tough. But, guys, go with Syracuse. We have one more, though.
Tonight's primetime game.
All right.
The
primetime game.
Primetime game.
Primetime game, man.
Primetime game between two, some would say non-primetime teams.
I agree. The Atlantic Conference is not a conference that you think to yourself.
Yeah. The American?
American. I said Atlantic. Wow.
That's fine.
I'm thinking about Syracuse again. Syracuse
They're not too
plus
far
10.
off the ACC, so.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. When you look at this game, bro, you think I believe when I look at this game, I look at it as a trap game initially. When I looked at it initially.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it. And UCF and Cincinnati, that's the primetime game, guys. You have ESPN Game Day that's going to Florida. They want to see those Florida boys play.
Yep.
And I think, I believe, initially, like I said, I thought it was a trap game for Cincinnati. Or not Cincinnati, I'm sorry, Central Florida. And then I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. McKenzie's been balling.
Yep.
And he knows the importance of this game.
He does. Absolutely. I think this whole UCF team knows the importance of this game because, this team hasn't lost in 2 years, and look at where they're ranked.
Hey, listen.
Still out on the outside of the top 10.
I know Tua is getting we know for sure Tua is getting the Heisman.
Yeah.
But this McKenzie Milton kid has been balling, man. He's
especially,
been balling.
It's extremely impressive what they've done without Scott Frost. We all know that Scott Frost is the second coming of Tom Osborne. So, sorry, UCF, but we had to take him back. No hard feelings. No, but you have seen their offense take a step back.
You have.
Obviously. You'd be a fool to think that wasn't going to happen. That was one of the most prolific offenses that we've ever seen in college football.
Yes, I agree.
I
agree.
I think the thing that this boils down to, we got UCF at -7.5, over under at 60.5. Like I said before, I don't really like the over unders, but over, obviously, these are two teams that in the last however many games, let's see here real quick. Both these teams put up points.
They do.
You might not have heard about Cincinnati's offense. They're not going to wow you through the air. They do have a
big time running back.
They got a big time running back. They got
Michael Warren.
Yep. Their quarterback has thrown for 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not the McKenzie Milton line of 2,300, 21 and 5.
Yeah, no.
But
no.
That's not. Just because you haven't heard of these guys, and just because their passing game ranks as the 160th best in the country,
they've been very balanced.
Well, they've been Cincinnati, UCF's been very balanced. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
UCF has been very balanced.
On the one hand, we have UCF with the literally not making this up, 271.4 yards on the ground a game. 271.6 yards through the air per game.
Yes.
You can't. They're within 0.2 yards of being perfectly even. That's got to be scary for guys. And
it is.
I was doing some, in my research, I found that looks like UCF has found a new guy at running back by the name of Greg McCrae, averaging 8.9 a carry.
8.9 yards. That's a lot, man. As soon as he gets the ball, it's a first down.
Yep, that's right. And you see the last 2 weeks, he's had 17 carries and 16. That's up from 5, 7, and 4 in the previous weeks.
Yeah, he ran through Temple though. He was running through Temple.
Yep. To the tune of 188 yards.
Man, I think he only had like 15, 16 attempts or something like that.
Yep.
When you see 180 plus yards on 15, 16 carries,
mm-hmm.
either A, the defense the opponent defense is terrible, or this kid right here,
I think he's the real deal.
he is.
Mike,
Offensive line has been good
yeah.
too, though. The offensive line has been really good. I don't think people have been giving UCF's offensive line enough credit. It has been very protective of Milton McKenzie.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Mackenzie Milton. And you see it based on his numbers.
Yeah.
Efficient. He's been very efficient. Very efficient.
As always.
5 interceptions.
The low interception total is not surprising.
Yeah.
You know, the undefeated record's not surprising. And I think the biggest thing going into why I like UCF in this game, this team has to feel disrespected by this point.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're seeing teams from the SEC vault them every week. They're seeing teams like Syracuse right on their heels at 7-3. And the reason I bring up the SEC thing with them is they have a victory in last year's bowl season over the SEC champions.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to bring that up. I don't mean to.
See this. See what you put me through. See the bullshit I have to deal with.
Exactly.
That's some bullshit, Auburn.
Auburn Nation has felt the wrath of Scott Frost.
No disrespect. My man with the one hand was killing us.
Yes, he was.
He was killing us.
That was a real guy. But
yeah, he balled in the NFL, by the way. Was it Shakir, right? Shaquem. Yeah, you balled up there in Seattle.
Shaquem and Shaquille.
We see you. We see you, twins. We see you, twins.
Yeah, no, and I think that, you know, with everything on the line, I don't think there's a team in the country that understands the importance of winning a game more than UCF, just because in their last 21 games, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
They're still outside the top 10. They have a win, you know, given it was last year, different team, different coach.
Yep,
yeah, I got that. But they do have a win over one of the top programs in the SEC during that winning streak.
They do.
They've got wins over the USFs, the Memphises. Those are good ball clubs.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's clearly not as easy to play in a conference like the SEC, but I mean, at what point do you give these guys a shot?
I think that you do. I think that you have to. I know, just based on the standings, I don't know how that's going to work, because you got Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3, Michigan 4. If Notre Dame beats Syracuse this week, they're not going anywhere. Michigan doesn't play anybody.
Honestly, I think that's the way it's going to end.
Yeah, they play
with
Indiana.
Those 4 teams.
And Clemson's not losing to anyone because they have Duke this week, and they're favored by 28. I kind of like that, and I do like Duke.
I kind of like Duke with the 28
and a half too. Yeah, I like Duke.
You know, Clemson's another team that is, you know, suspect to those types of games.
The only way I think that something happens, I don't know. I mean, you need a lot to happen for them to even have a chance. Oklahoma's at 6. LSU, they're not going to play in the conference
you need
game.
Every team in front of them to lose and a couple behind.
Yeah, you do.
Because, these Syracuse, if they beat Notre Dame, they're vaulting UCF. Yeah. There's no question about it.
Yeah, they are.
You know, and
they're at 12. So
it's really a tricky situation for UCF, because if they come out and beat the brakes off Cincinnati, everyone's going to be like, oh, Cincinnati wasn't that good.
Exactly.
Or if it's a close game, oh, UCF's not that good. That type of thing. I think they're going to come out, try to win by 3 touchdowns. I think it'll be...
oh, damn.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that type of game for them. This has got to mean a bunch to these kids.
It does. 100%.
You know, and Josh Heupel's proven himself to be a very capable play caller. He's proven himself as able to keep this offensive machine on the tracks.
Yes.
I just do not think that Cincinnati has enough firepower. That ground game, though, if they can get the ball to this Michael Warren kid and he can control the clock a little bit, I think they got a chance. But if they try to get into a shootout type game, it's not going to go well for them.
Yeah.
So I think you limit UCF's possessions, try to get on the ground, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 7-point difference at the end of the game.
No, not
But
at all.
I think they're going to cover the 7.5.
I agree.
I think they'll win by 10.
Well, my prediction was definitely 14.
Yeah,
Definitely. I just see so much from an offensive perspective. A sleeper that most people haven't been really paying attention to. I mean, I don't really know how frequent people watch UCF, but this Adrian Killins Jr. kid, he's been a sleeper for them.
Yep.
Along with McCray.
Yep. And then don't forget Otis Anderson, who had the huge breakout freshman year for Scott Frost and company last year.
Yes.
They've just got – you don't see a lot of guys with huge stat lines on their team, but you see a bunch of guys with stats.
A lot of production.
Yeah.
A lot of production.
And it's – you kind of – I can see why just by watching them last year, watching, the way that Scott Frost is trying to build the team in Nebraska this year. That's kind of his philosophy. I see a lot of that in them still.
Scott Frost, you have to get off our podcast.
Yeah. It's never going to happen. But, they're between their top three receivers, you got 37 catches, 35 catches, 32 catches. Nothing jumps off the screen at you there.
Right.
But, a lot of college football teams don't have three guys with 30 receptions.
I agree, 100%. 30 receptions, excuse me, 30 receptions for any receiver. That's Auburn doesn't have a 30 reception receiver this year. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Ryan Davis been balling. Hey, we see you, Ryan, out there in Auburn. Eagle.
Eagle.
But you don't see a lot of players or a lot of teams that have multiple 30 reception receivers.
No, and
they have 3 of them.
Yeah, and they got 3 of them. I'm sure they're all big play guys. And the thing with them is that type of offense, it is, people don't realize it. It is more of a, obviously we talked about the balance on the offense that they have, but that team's built to be more of a running team.
Oh yeah,
definitely. They've got those. A lot of these guys with this many catches are going to be guys like guys that play that wing back, running back, split back type role. Killins is one of them. McCray is going to be one of them. Otis Anderson is one of them, and so that's why you're gonna see a lot of that too.
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna identify if. Okay, I want to know this. Do you believe Cincinnati has any shot?
I do. You can't. They're 9-1 at the end of the day.
They are exactly. It means something.
They have the loss to Temple, right?
That was a tough loss, man.
I mean, that was what.
But they have this rebound game from South Florida last week. That was 30. They should have won for about 14. It was on ESPN as the Bad Beats. If you did not see it, you need to check that out. The Bad Beats. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But LSU, I'm still picking a bone with you from your bad beat last week. Embarrassing. I love what I've seen from Cincinnati, man. I really do. And it's hard to count them out. But I believe the same thing you believe in regards to what it should be. In order for UCF to get their respect, they're going to have to blow Cincinnati out.
Yep. It's unfortunate, but even if they do, I still don't think that they're going to get enough to get in.
It's not.
But
enough.
It's really a battle of two teams that have to feel disrespected. UCF by the country, Cincinnati more directed at UCF, I would think, because I don't think, the line's only 7.5, but I don't think anyone really thinks that Cincinnati's going to pull this out, and that's going to be motivation for them.
It does. It has to be. Has to be.
But at the end of the day, I just think that UCF's more motivated. I think they got more on the line. They're starting to get to the point where they're chasing history.
Right.
You know?
Right.
They haven't lost in 2 years. No. If they can finish out another season undefeated, they might be setting up the groundwork for the respect next year.
Yeah, we saw that with Boise State, and now they have.
Yeah, Boise State, Utah when Alex Smith was there.
With Alabama, when they played Alabama, beat them in the bowl game.
Yep.
It's impressive to watch these. I don't really like to use the word Cinderella teams, but it's impressive when you see a team that has been where they were, because they were, 3-4 years ago they hadn't won a game.
Yep.
So
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago
they went 0-12.
Yeah. So you're seeing.
You're seeing this AAC.
You're seeing a great foundation.
Yeah.
It was a great
foundation.
And
you're seeing a lot of really great things out of this conference.
Yes, you are.
This has really become the new, the MAC was back when, Pennington, Roethlisberger, all those guys were coming through there. This is really starting to get to that point, because this is where, every year this conference seems to lose 3 to 5 coaches to major programs. Last year you lost Chad Morris to Arkansas.
Yes,
Arkansas. Scott Frost to Nebraska.
And then we had
Quinte was at Memphis and then took Vatek job.
My guy from Houston that went to Texas, Tom Herman.
Yeah, Tom Herman. Then we got Willie Taggart, who obviously I don't think is a very good coach. Matt Rule he was at Temple, now he's at Baylor.
I like him. I like what they're putting together down there at Baylor.
Yep. And then Justin Fuente, who went from Memphis to Vatek. Everyone thought that he was going to be Coach of the Year candidate through 4 weeks. Not so much anymore.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But that conference has just continually churned out coaches, and not guys that are going to low-level programs. These are guys who are getting interviewed at all the major programs. You saw Florida, you saw Oregon, or UCLA. You saw those types of schools make a run at Scott Frost, make a run at Mike Norvell, make a run at Tom Herman, make a run at Willie Taggart.
Yeah.
So this is a very quality conference. It's kind of one of those conferences where they're really experimenting with I like to think of them as kind of like a baby Big 12. Like the offense is in that conference.
Yes, exactly it is.
And they're really exploring with some new, pretty interesting things down there.
Oh yes. Without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to see UCF be a team to be reckoned with, that they can continue to get the quarterbacks that they shoot for down there in Florida. Florida boys. I like Florida. I like Florida's a good time. If you've never been to Florida, you should go.
And just avoid Florida, man.
Man.
Beware the Florida man.
But I think that we both agree on this pick.
I think we do. Yeah, 7.5.
The over is 60.
I like the over.
The over.
That does make me a little nervous with UCF, because every once in a while they'll come out and beat someone like 42-14.
Over.
But I'm very, very confident that UCF will win the game. Say an 7 or an 8 out of 10 on the confidence scale for covering that spread.
Yes.
If that spread dropped down to 6.5, I would be all over it, 100%.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt.
But I think this is a huge game. I think it's going to be close at the half. I think it might be one of those ones where you see whichever of these teams ends up being the bigger, badder team. I think they're going to pull away at the end. I suspect that's UCF, just because of what we've seen from them over the past 18 months or so.
Yeah, I agree. Well, hey, guys, quick recap on our picks for today. Ohio State, 14.5. Take them over Maryland.
Yep. That's a consensus pick.
Yes.
High confidence.
Yes. The Alabama first half game over Citadel. Take it. Nebraska, Michigan State. My guy said go with Nebraska. I'm saying go with the over 49.5. Go with the over. Nebraska has covered that over 3 weeks straight. So go with that over. And then we have the West Virginia, Oklahoma State game. Hey, I was snowflake too.
Yep.
I was a little fickled.
He-
Forget
yeah.
Mike.
Our friend Tave here is a millennial.
Yes.
Snowflake,
I am.
liberal.
Yes.
Even.
Yes.
So he was easy to flip, obviously.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Go West Virginia, guys. Go West Virginia. Those are my picks. Oh, also go UCF 7.5. Those are my picks. Grant, what you got?
A couple other ones I wanted to talk about. Northwestern.
Ooh.
Underdog at Minnesota.
You like them with the money line?
I like Northwestern with the money line.
Northwestern with the money.
You know, Nebraska played Minnesota a couple weeks ago, beat them 55 to 28, I think. I'm not sure what the final of it was that, but they scored over 50. I think 3 or 4 teams have scored over 50 on Minnesota. They did 2 weeks ago. Fire their defensive coordinator.
They did.
Last week they had a strong performance against Purdue, 45-10 at home. That was kind of a shocker around the country.
Right.
But you know, this is a Northwestern team that coach Fitzgerald. I think he's second to none.
I like it.
As far as, you know, college football coaches, I think that team is playing, you know, for respect. Again, talking a lot about that. They're playing for respect. More importantly, they have a chance to be the most successful Northwestern team in their history. Pat Fitzgerald knows that. He's going to make sure that team knows that. They're going to be ready. Minnesota's kind of playing spoiler. I think they're one win away from a bowl game now.
Yeah, they are.
Don't think they're going to get that this week.
Not at TCF Bank. They're not.
No, and I think that if it's a cold weather game, I think they have a shot just because Northwestern is a pass-heavy team.
26 degrees is what we're looking at.
Yeah, but I just think that Northwestern defense has been playing at a really high level lately.
Yeah, I like Northwestern too.
Yeah, I think that team is just. I think they're clearly the best team in the Big Ten West. Not saying much, but I think they handle business there. Yeah. And you know, and again, they're an underdog. I believe Minnesota is favored by a point. I don't know why they would be favored by a point. Again, maybe Vegas knows something we don't. But I'm taking Northwestern, and I don't know what the over/under is on that. Can I get a check on that real quick?
Yes. 47.
47. I'd take the under.
I like that.
I see another
degrees, 20.
I see another 14-10 like game, real stinker.
Yes.
But I think that's a pretty safe bet to go with Northwestern. So I got Northwestern, I got Syracuse
plus.
I got Nebraska.
Nebraska with the win. The win. Well, hey guys, we really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. We will not be here next week. Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family. Be safe on the highways. Listen, if you don't got the money to make the bets, don't make the bets. But I want you to know, if you do, make sure you take the bet.
Yep. And then next time you see it, or next time you hear from us, we'll have some breakdowns on where we did good, where we did bad.
Yes.
See if I was able to convince Tave the right way on West Virginia. But other than that, Iowa, you're on notice. Nebraska's coming.
Hey, good luck. Eagle. Or damn Eagle. I want to say, Auburn, you better show up next week.
Yep. And, of course, go Big Red. Trust the process. Big Red Revival.
No more process. This shit is over.
It's just beginning.
All right, guys. It's been a pleasure.
All right.